Good morning. Good morning, team, and happy Monday. Look, it is Momentum Builder Monday. It is the start of the week. So in order to make sure that we got our vibes all sorted out and that we're starting off the week right, drop a comment and use one word to describe how you're currently feeling right now. Okay?
What's your word?
Enthusiastic.
She said it with enthusiasm.
Yeah.
Enthusiasm.
Yeah, I'm feeling enthusiastic today. How about you?
I feel like I feel like you're far out of the camera. So I'm gonna pull your hair to reel you in. You know when the legs of your chair just don't.
What is your word?
Scissor.
What is your word?
My word is. I need a good one.
What's y'all's word? Drop a comment. Mine is enthusiastic.
Mine is motivated.
Motivated. I like it. Okay. I see some
Wonderful.
words coming in.
Amped. Prepped.
Magnificent. Prepared. Amped. Wonderful. I love it. Pumped. I love it. Flexible.
Fabulous.
Fantabulous. I love it.
Fantabulous.
Ready. Okay, so, keep them coming. Keep them coming. This is amazing. Pumped. But I want to give a shout out to our community. This goes to show you how the community in which you're surrounded in is helping you to get better. Like, look at this. If we were to read this again, they're all like extremely positive and driven. Okay, so I'm going to read it again. Magnificent, prepared, amped, wonderful, pumped, flexible, fantabulous, pumped.
We have a happy but disappointed.
Happy but disappointed. Okay. Tell us more about it.
Pumped,
focused, passionate. Happy but disappointed. I like it. You're surrounding yourself with people who are getting shit done, people who are positive, people who have high standards of themselves and others, prepared. Yeah.
Determined.
People who make time for what matters, people who are focused. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Tired but focused. Great. Nice work, you guys. So today, we are going to describe to you a word that I would like for you to add into your day-to-day thought pattern. It's not just a word, but it's a way of life, okay? Should you pay attention to it very carefully, and if you will do so, this will forever change your life, okay? So the word that we're going to be using today is the word that's called pragmatism. Okay? According to John Maxwell, he's somebody that I've been learning a lot from recently because he's a leadership guru, and truthfully, he really inspires me. Because I believe that right now what the world needs more than ever is leadership. Okay.
Good leadership.
Look, just by these words, it says that for us collectively as a community, like, we have great leadership. Okay. And I applaud you for it. But I'm also humbled to say that, you become who you surround yourself with. So give us a thumbs up if you think that we are doing a pretty good job before we dive into the word pragmatism. So John Maxwell, though it's a word that a lot of philosophers use to describe, using things as logic, he breaks it down into a way simpler term, which I like a lot better because, you know what? Philosophy has this way of making everything sound like you're reading Latin, even if you're reading English. And when things are complicated, we get overwhelmed. For me, as somebody who's English is a second language, I like to keep things nice and simple. So pragmatism is the abilities, is the person's ability, okay, to create an opportunity when they see problems. Okay, we're gonna repeat it again. Pragmatism is someone's ability to see an opportunity when a problem arises. Mic drop. You should probably take a note of that. Be pragmatic. So why is this important? Okay, I feel like we live in a society, okay, for one, there's a lot of problems going on right now. Do you agree? Right? Give us a thumbs up if you agree. There's a lot of problems going on. But here's the thing. The truth is, there's always been problems. Okay? It's just that I feel like right now, because of everything that's going on and with the elections coming up, the media is showcasing what they want you to hear more of. So they want you to hear more problems because they want to distract you, because they believe that way they're going to move you and influence you in a certain way, right? So there's always been problems.
The problems are being magnified and exposed, and the degree in which they're exposed depends on who you listen to or watch or pay attention to. But let's get one thing clear. There's a big difference between problems and inconveniences. Problems, real problems, are world hunger. Real problems are a lack of...
the sewage system in India.
Exactly. A lack of sewage
sanity
management in third world
sanitation
countries. Those are problems. Inconveniences are you got a flat tire. Inconveniences are your kid threw up in the back seat. And we kind of blanket them all under problems, which is fine. It's not like you're wrong if you say, oh my gosh, I had a problem on the way to, whatever. Like we put everything into this problem category, and that's fine because we then say problems need to be solved. Inconveniences don't feel like they need to be solved. It feels like you can just accept it, but that's not where we want you to go. So it's important. The reason I say that there's a difference between problems and inconveniences is because we need to know how we prioritize them. How big of a problem do you see it as? And if it's not a big problem, it's simply an inconvenience that either you need to change, and if you can't change, then you need to change your attitude about. I think it was Maya Angelou said, if you don't like something, change it. And if you can't change it, change your attitude.
She's so good.
So, there's a difference between problems and inconveniences. It's okay, though, to blanket them all under problems because as we see it through our lens, it may feel like a problem because it needs to be solved. And that's a good thing. Yeah, so,
we all have the ability to become pragmatic, but in today's society, most people, especially in modern society, right? Like the US, Canada, right? Like not Africa, like the people watching our show, like when they are faced with inconveniences, they shut down. Like for most of us, we don't really have that many problems. I mean, you know what? Like I would say, and I would like for you to drop a comment too and tell us, do you think that the coronavirus is an inconvenience or a problem? I think that it is becoming a very big global problem because of the way that it's, impacting the economy. But I think it became a problem because the media created it to be. Like the media just really brainwashed so many people. Close your business down, blah, blah, blah. And like now everybody's walking around with masks, but like businesses are open.
At first, I mean, we're getting into now like, oh, how would we have solved this problem? And honestly,
I'm not trying to solve that problem. I'm just trying to identify whether, like, I get their understanding if it's a problem or an inconvenience. You know, so the first step to becoming pragmatic is to, for one, ask yourself when something happens to you throughout the day. Right? Like, let's say, you know, you're driving on the road to go pick up your kids from soccer practice, whatever, and shit, your tire goes flat. Is it a problem or is that an inconvenience, right? So step one, like, I want you to just think about, you know, things that normally happen to you in your life on a day-to-day basis that throw you off. The first question that you need to ask yourself is this really a problem or is that actually an inconvenience? I think it was Scooter Brown who said that, you know what, like, I've come to realize that most of the things in today's society that we see to be as problems are actually inconveniences.
And that's mainly to say, just recognize it. Now, it doesn't mean that inconvenience doesn't need to be solved, because it's still, if you have a flat tire and you can't get to where you need to go, you still have to solve it, right? So we would see it as a problem. But the reason that I distinguish between problems and inconveniences is to kind of keep your head right and keep perspective to the fact that living in a first world country, most things don't need to be freaked out about. I think a lot of times we make such a big deal about things that happen when really it's like, it's not the end of the world, right? Like real world problems, like you have food, you have clean water, there is a sewage system, you have a house, most likely. If you don't, there are a lot of people willing to help, you know. So the problems that we have, I think in my mind, I tell myself this, like, it's an inconvenience. You don't need to flip out about it. Figure out how to solve it. Just figure out how to solve it. The world is not ending because we were inconvenienced.
Yeah. Now, the second thing to understand is that in life, regardless of, you know, the difference between a problem and an inconvenience, is that we all face problems on a regular basis. We all do. Right? I believe that in order for us to truly be successful in life, right, like, we have to be better problem solvers, right? Like, problem solving is a skill. You know, doing math is problem solving. Doing computer science is problem solving. Doing any science is problem solving. Losing weight, guess what? It's problem solving. Right? It's problem solving that requires physical manipulation and behavioral changes. Yep. So, you know, when being faced with a problem, I think that, you know, in the 21st century, and like we said, most of the things that we face are inconveniences, right? People expect to not have problems. Like, you know, they strive to have a life where there's no problems. But the reality is that, you know, whoever it is that you strive to be like, it's not that they don't have problems, it's that they have risen above their problems because they have gone out of their way to develop the skills to solve the problems that have come their way. Okay, so the second thing that you have to do when being faced with a problem, okay, is to ask yourself, okay, now, what can I learn from this? Right? So like when you're being, don't not ask for problems. Ask yourself, what can I learn from this?
Can I add like a in-between step too?
Yeah.
Which would be like, do I have the ability to be a solution? And then, what did I learn from solving the problem? And how can, if in my control, how can I prevent the problem from happening next time? Now, this is just like mostly within our own lives. So we always have to ask ourselves, what do I have control over? What do I have control over? What actions can I actually take that can help solve the problems that I have? And then, in order to minimize the number of problems that I continue to have, what can I learn from this past problem that I've solved? And if outside of your control, then there are still things inside of your control, which mainly is your attitude or how you respond to whatever's happening. But I have an issue. We're going to call it an issue, whether it's a problem or an inconvenience. Problems are also inconveniences, but not all inconveniences are problems. Okay, I don't know if that makes sense, but in my head it does. So it's how do we have an issue. What do I have control over? Can I be part of the solution? Let me solve it. What did I learn from it? So that if in the future, I could hopefully prevent this from happening again. The example of the flat tire, let's say, and you're not prepared with a spare. Shit, now I gotta call AAA, I gotta wait for them to come get the car or change a tire or bring something, and then I gotta buy a new tire, and then it's even more of an inconvenience. So then what you could learn is, okay, now I need to know that I need to have a spare tire. So then the next time, if I get a flat tire, my problem is solved much easier. Like, it's just a lesson, right? So we say the same thing about mistakes and learning from them and turning them into lessons. Problems are not, issues in our first world country are not a bad thing. They just need to be solved. And unexpected things are going to happen all the time. Mm-hmm. There's no such thing as no problems or no inconveniences or no issues. There's always going to be something to solve. And when you learn to embrace that, you don't see it as a negative thing. And then you have the ability to move forward because it's not negative, it's just neutral. Oh shit, this happened. It is what it is. How can I solve this?
Now, one thing that I want to add to that is that everybody has the ability to develop that skill, but not everybody has given themselves permission to do that. And I hope that all of you guys will give yourself permission to do that. But in order to do that, I'm going to warn you, there's one thing that you're going to have to do. You're going to have to put your ego aside. Okay? Because a problem is always inconvenient. And when there is an inconvenience for the ego would rather just not deal with it, right? And
or blame somebody else, or
yeah,
complain,
yeah,
or tell your friend how mad you are, or...
right? And that's why something that I always say is that, if you've been struggling to lose weight, nutrition is not your problem. Nutrition is just a manifestation to your problem. Okay? You are binge eating, emotionally eating, because you're not actually solving another problem in your life. Okay? Because dealing with it is very inconvenient for the ego. It will either cause anger, pain, overcoming fear, right? It will require time, it will require effort, blood, sweat, and tears. But the only way for you to grant yourself permission to become more pragmatic, okay, is to leave the ego aside.
The song that comes to my head when leaving the ego aside is that song that says, "Sit down, bitch, be humble." You know that rap song?
No, I don't.
You do it. Remember when we went to Bear Republic? And OJ would play it all the time. "Sit down, bitch, be humble."
No, but I feel like
they said that like
to it
for the
today
whole
when
song.
I work out. I
don't really know what the rest of the song says, but it is ego versus humility.
So, because we teach a lot about weight loss in this show, let's, for a quick second, just take it with regards to your weight loss journey. Okay, so let's say, you go to the grocery store, you go to Costco, and you end up getting a churro because you were really hungry, right? Like,
churro really satisfies.
The reason why I'm saying churro, because every time I go to Costco, I see so many people eating churros.
Or pizza or hot dogs or whatever.
Yeah, right. Insert in the blank, like whatever your go-to is. But the reality is that you know that if you've got goals, none of these things are in alignment whatsoever, right? So what you got to do is you need to figure out a way to solve the problem, okay? And there's plenty of ways in which you can solve the problem, okay? But the reality is that it's up to you to figure out whichever way works best for you, okay? And that's why when it comes to your weight loss journey, something that we talk about is the need to personalize, because what will work for Mary may not work for Sarah, may not work for Erin, may not work for me, right? So with regards to this example, one of the very first thing that comes to my mind is, okay, well, if you were hungry before you went to Costco, the first thing that you could have done is you could have sat down and you could have had a meal beforehand. But what if the person's like, okay, sorry, but I actually came straight from the office. Okay, then you should probably keep a healthy snack in your car. Okay, sorry, but I don't know which snacks are, like, won't go bad. Okay, do your research. The reality is that there is an answer to everything.
Or
okay?
eat some, or bring something to the office to eat before you leave the office.
There is always an answer to everything, okay? It's just that figuring out the answer to a problem takes time, takes effort, right? And may take even more resources, right? The more resources that you invest in yourself, like we always talk about, the resources are time, energy, money, right? The greater is your ability to now solve your own problems, right? Like, life is full of problems, right? But I feel like in society we're taught that a great life is life in which there's no problems. Just like, you know, the typical Instagram chick, she's always on vacations, wearing a bathing suit, eating acai bowls and drinking coconut water straight from a coconut. And you're like, bitch, how are you living that life? Of course, power to these girls if that's what makes them happy. However, like, real life does not work this way. It's like, you know, like, let me go to the grocery store and then I get a flat tire and then my mom calls me and she had a hard day. And it's like, you know, everything coming right at you. It's like, don't ask for a life without problems. Instead, become the person who gets better at solving your own problems. And when you do so, you will grant yourself permission to live a happier and more successful life, because truly this is what life is all about.
Our society too, I can speak for America, has glorified what sucks more than what's going well. And I don't know if there's
Can you give an example? I have a hard time understanding.
Yeah, so it's so much easier to complain. It's so much easier to say what's going wrong, right? When somebody asks you how you are, immediately, I think, like, I don't know if it's a natural human response, like, if there's physiologically something or some kind of survival mechanism that is like, oh, think about what's the worst thing first. Or, you know, when we get called to the principal's office, always, oh, I must have done something wrong. I think, and there are exceptions, I'm sure. There are some people who don't automatically think that way, but I think most of society is like, how are you doing? The first thing that you think is like, what shit went wrong so I can complain about something?
Oh my gosh.
You know, like, oh, I'm all right, but like, this happened or that happened. Rather than, even like forgetting about the fact that like something amazing happened. It's like, I think, I know that my natural human response, and it's weird because I catch myself and I really do my best to remain positive, but I wonder and I ask myself, why do I try to think about something that didn't go the way that I would have wanted it to go? When being asked about it. And so it's, you know, it's everywhere and it's on the news. Like, I think there are more shitstorms on the news than there are, oh my God, this amazing thing happened today. We always hear, like, the news should just say one thing at this point: things are getting worse. Because every time, and I really make an effort to not watch the news. Actually, I don't make an effort. I just don't turn it on.
We don't.
But we do have a housemate, and the news is on sometimes. So I go in the kitchen and I can hear it, and I'm like, man, it's just a shit show on there all the time. It's just, this bad thing happened, that bad thing happened. Oh, these bad things are happening. Rather than like, what about all the good shit that's happening in the world? What about all the like philanthropy? Why don't we ever hear about that on the news? And persuasion is based off of hitting into somebody's fear or somebody's pain points. So I feel like the news is always just trying to persuade you of something by telling you all the bad shit that's going on, especially around election time. And I just don't know who to trust nowadays. I don't know why I'm going, what this tangent is about, but anyways, focus more on the positive aspect of the problem and embrace the opportunity to learn, which is being pragmatic, from a problem that you have. What are you looking at?
Do you guys know that $300 billion are being raised by philanthropists each and every year? And though everybody keeps talking about, you know, Black Lives Matter, which I get, nobody ever talked about how much money was actually raised by the foundation, which just goes to show you how the media distracts you by only wanting you to hear the negative stuff. So, you know, before we close this, I wanna, as you were talking, there were two clients that I've worked with in the past, back in the day when I was at Equinox, both of which are females, like in the same age category, same everything, but both had a completely different life due to their mindset, okay? Both were extremely successful, okay, because it's a bougie ass gym.
What kind of successful? Financially?
Yes, financially, like we're talking about like multi-millionaires. Both of which are extremely successful. One has an incredible marriage, super wonderful kids that you can just tell that are like they're being brought with love. And then the other one, right, equally as successful, sad marriage,
financially only,
right,
fake AF,
sad marriage, sad relationships with anything. The one person, like whenever she came to train, she was like one of my all-time favorite clients. I freaking love her so much. And in fact, I aspire to be like her.
Wait, you did not make a clear transition. Who are you aspiring to be like?
The positive person. The positive person that I was talking about. Okay. And then the other one, it's just like, she would always come late. If she came late, there was always an excuse. Every time when I had to show up for a session, I felt drained. It's like I had to, do you know those people that it's like when you have to get yourself in front of them, you're like, okay, let me mentally prepare and let me just, you know, try to like,
it's a long hour. It's a long hour.
Yeah, it's not fun. It's draining. It's a pain in the freaking ass. But anyways,
don't be that person.
Attitude is really important. And as you were talking and I was thinking about these people, I want to leave you guys off with two important things, okay? In order for you to create happiness, okay, you need to focus on yourself. Don't focus on others. I hear so many times, people who keep on comparing themselves to others. If you will compare yourself to others, you will forever be miserable, especially in this era.
Or comparing, there is a healthy kind of comparison that you can do, though this is not what you're talking about because it's not the norm kind of comparison, but also blaming other people. Oh, because this person did that. Oh, because this, oh, because they did, oh, because this company did. did that.
Yeah, lack of ownership.
Lack of ownership.
And then the second thing that you have to do in order, so to be a better problem solver, you want to focus on yourself. Don't focus on others. Okay? Don't focus on other people's amazing life. Okay? You got problems, focus on your own problems and figure that shit out.
And take ownership of
okay?
What you
So
have
many
control
people are like, I wish that blah, blah, blah. Dude, like, you ain't got time for that. You ain't living that life. Just solve your own shit out. Right? And then the second thing, pay very close attention to who you're listening to. And this is why exactly, like in this multi-billion-dollar like weight loss industry, you know, the success rate is so low because for one, most people giving advice are not actually qualified to give advice.
The way that we determine success is you reach your goal and don't go backwards. Now, there's always ebb and flow. In our idea of weight loss success is you're not yo-yoing extreme and you've gotten the results that you want and it lasts long term. And you've grown since then. It doesn't just last, it keeps getting better in small increments. The reason I say that is because some people would determine success simply as a weight loss, regardless of whether or not they gain it back. But in your heart, that does not feel successful to you. Yeah. But, you know, and I wanna the reason why I'm touching up on that is because I know that there's a lot of people out there who read a whole bunch of things, who try every Monday something new, but they haven't solved the main problem, which is lose the weight and keep it off, right? And that's because, for one, you're listening to too many people. The people who you're listening to could be qualified on paper, but not in life. If they don't practice what they preach every single day and can show for it, guess what? They're not a good resource. It's almost like getting financial advice from somebody who does not have investments, right? Would you want to do that just because it says financial advisor, right? Look, that's exactly why we have this show, right? And that's why we're so grateful for you guys showing up and listening to this because, you know, we're really on a mission to serve you guys and millions of others and help them to live a better life, right? So remember this. Don't expect problems to not show up. Expect yourself to become a better problem solver, okay? And don't compare yourself to others. We ain't got no time for this shit, okay? If you're in this community, then you know that you got big dreams, you got big goals, and you got big aspirations, and we're here to help you with that. Okay, so our message to you as we're kicking off this week is just keep focusing on you, boo-boo, and keep showing up. And you know what? If you found value from today's conversation, then do us a favor and spread the love, okay? Good things are meant to be shared, and that's why we keep on showing up to you guys each and every day because you know what? The world needs more of this shit, and it starts with us, and it starts with you, and you know, we hope that it will trickle down as much as possible over time, but all we can do is control ourselves. So that being said, that's it for today. Tomorrow, Q&A day, so join us then, 6:30 a.m. If you have questions, submit them. They are on the top of the group page. If we don't have questions, we don't show up. So you better ask your questions. And we will see you tomorrow, you problem solvers. Bye, guys.